Let's bring in Hoagie. I guess Mike Hogan, 36, is young. Yeah. How are things, man? You survived NHL All-Star Weekend, obviously.
Yeah, I hid out here in the sticks in suburban Toronto and Whitby, so I was safe.
Okay, good to hear.
Justin Bieber's coat, though.
Hey, you've known me a long time. I'd have worn that sucker back in the day. It was nice to see him out, and he's always been a great sportsman, hasn't he? And supporter of Toronto and Canadian sports, the Biebs.
Yeah, it really is, and he's got the fan base. I know his wife Haley was pictured in an Argos sweater a year ago, and you wouldn't believe the impact that had on our social media account. So yeah, he's a big name, and you get these stars. And I know you were talking about Taylor Swift beforehand. Where did I see a study that she's added like $33 billion or something, $331 million, whatever it was, in advertising to the NFL. So it's huge. You can't beat stuff like that.
331, good memory, Hoagie. That's it. 331 million US, let's not forget. Yeah. And it's to the Chiefs and the NFL. Was the 2012 Grey Cup the greatest day of your life? Be honest.
It was one of them because I actually got to call that game, which was nice. It's the only. I've been a part of several broadcasts, as have you, but I mean, it's the only one where I got to do the play-by-play. To be honest, because I worked for the organization in 2022, that one meant a lot more than me sort of being at arm's length and working for, who was I with at the time? With TSN Radio at the time. You were at arm's length, but being in there every day, and that was my fourth year with the organization, and having been there through a couple of 4 and 14 seasons, and then having it culminate with a spectacular, dramatic win in the Grey Cup. The best way I heard it described was the fourth quarter of that game was drunk, and it basically was. So that was a hell of a day. So professionally, that would go right up there.
Sure, but a cold one. But isn't it nice to be able to compare championships? What comes to mind for me is 2017, the Snow Globe in Ottawa, Argos Stampeders, Shania Twain with Sled Dogs.
Doesn't get much more Canadian than that. And, the whole story of Liram Hajrullahu, who we actually brought back today as kicker, as we're going full circle here. He kicks the field goal with I think 50 seconds left to win the game. Nobody talks about that because there were so many other big plays in that game. The Matt Black clincher, the interception in the end zone, 100-yard pass from Ricky Ray to Tavares Daniels, Devere Posey. Cassius Vaughn, 109-yard return touchdown on a fumble return late in the game when Calgary was going in to clinch the game. There was so many big plays. Shania Twain is probably the first thing people think of in that game. But that was a ridiculous game.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes it and says, it certainly wasn't the greatest day of my life. Chris Berman would call him Devere, pocket full of Posey. What's on your mind this week, Hoagie, as we got Super Bowl coming up? You're making signings. You're saying goodbye to Boris Beatty. It may be February, but football very close, close at hand.
Yeah, it's busy. I think everybody thinks that when there's nothing going on in the CFL in terms of on-field action that, we just sit around and play pinochle all day, but not quite the case. Trying to get ready for the season, trying to move some seats, some season tickets, trying, from a football operations perspective to get the roster set. Free agency is obviously a very big day. It's been interesting to watch this team since Pinball Clemens took over in October of 2019, go from a team that was exceptionally busy on free agency day trying to add players to now where it's trying to keep players. It's been it gives you an indication of what, over the last 4 years, Pinball, Vince Magritte, John Murphy, Jim Barker, Alex Russell have done to move the needle to put us in a position from a team that was looking around trying to say, how do we get better, to a team that's saying, okay, hands off. to everybody else in the league. But players who play well on a team that went 16-2 are going to want to get paid, deservedly so, because there's a lot of talent on that team last year. So it's just it's a necessary evil, and now we're on the other side of it.
In a way, Hoagie, a cautionary tale. I think we could spend a lot of time talking about this because you guys work so hard, set a record, earliest clinching of first place, and I think you'd admit now, peaking too soon is a thing. What would Dinner do different? Your head coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, after clinching. I'm not sure you could have done anything different, and then you stub your toe in the East Final and don't get to the Grey Cup.
If we had have gone through and played every player, every play, every snap down the stretch, somebody probably would have gotten hurt. Just the odds of that happening. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And if Flo or Imolade, for example, had have gotten hurt last year on the stretch to the playoffs and to the postseason, people would have said Dinwiddie should have sat him down. So you really don't have a win in that situation. The other thing that hurt, we didn't have a bye after Labor Day last year. The CFL gifted us with 3 byes in the first half of the season. So guys needed some rest. And with the size of the CFL roster and with the salary cap, you can't rest everybody at the same time. So I think in a lot of cases he was treating guys as one-game injuries to get them out and give them some rest and get some other guys some reps. But yeah, when you clinch September the 15th, it's with a couple of months left in the season, it's not an easy proposition for players nor coaches.
Yeah, well, we'll find out what they learned, right? I have a lot of love and affection for Ryan Dinwiddie, and we'll see what they learned coming back here in 2024. From our guy, Nelson.
I do hope that we have that. I hope we're in that situation again, though, Rod. I hope we go 16-2 again.
Well, right, and from the audience, Nelson says the Argos had the largest growth in attendance and TV viewership. From one marketing guy to another, stick tap to you, Hoagie, and your staff. That's from Nelson, our VP of Sim Events. Sega writes in and says, any news with tamper period going on? We're in the legal tampering period. Does that have to do with Pickett going to Ottawa? I don't really understand it. So what can you tell our audience about what's going on right now in the CFL?
Okay, in the 1 week lead up to free agency, which begins a week from tomorrow, there's a 7-day window beginning yesterday where players and agents can talk to other teams. So if, Rod, you're a free agent and you're playing with Saskatchewan and the Argos have some interest, we call you, we call your agent. Pinball can talk to you and your agent and say, would you like to come to Toronto? If you're a general manager, you can come and talk to the Argo players. You have that to kind of set terms. You can agree to terms. Nothing can be put in writing until 2 hours before free agency opens at noon on Tuesday. So you have that 2-hour window to accept any offer. And if the offer isn't accepted, the player says, you know what, I'm going to give this second thought. I'm going to go and I'm going to listen to other offers. They can become a free agent. So nothing's binding until the player accepts it between 10 and 12 leading up to free agency. But this week, any team can talk to any player and they're represented.
So the report is Pickett's going to Ottawa. Is that part of this? He's accepted their tender, if you will, or what? What's the deal there?
Yeah, I don't know.
You can't maybe speak on that.
I don't know what it is. Let's use that as an example. If that is, and I saw the reporters involved. I think it was Farhan and Dan Ralph, so I trust them. He can agree to terms, but he can't, physically sign the contract until 10 o'clock on Tuesday. I believe that's the way it works.
Okay, here we go. You asked us not to get into this, and now we're getting into this. I blame the viewers. They asked, not me, Hoagie. Lastly, how will the Argos overcome the loss of Corey Mace, your defensive coordinator, to the Saskatchewan Roughriders as head coach?
Stay tuned. We have an announcement coming up soon in terms of that. Coaching staff is in place. So just, patience. I think it's just the ink has to dry on the contract or the I's have to be dotted. So we'll be good. We'll be fine. But Corey's a great coach. We knew when he came in that we were only going to rent him, that he was going to be a head coach very, very soon. He's got great football acumen. He's a spectacular guy. He's got intangibles, coming out the ears. He's just that guy. And when he signed, I said, I hope you go 16-2 this year. Everybody's pulling for him because he's that guy. I just wish him nothing but success unless he's playing us.
Sounds good, Hoagie. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the analysis, and keep in touch, my man.
Anytime. Thank you, sir.
Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argos.